Hi there, friend. Before we start, I want to ask you something simple. Where are you watching from today? Tell me in the comments. I love hearing from people all around the world, sharing their senior wisdom and reflections on life. And hey, if you're new here, welcome. This is a space where we talk honestly about aging, health, independence, and life after 60. If that sounds like something you care about, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. It helps grow this channel, keeps the inspiration flowing, and lets more people like us find support and real stories that matter. Now, let me tell you a little story. A year ago, I stood in my kitchen holding a slip of paper from my doctor. It had my blood pressure numbers on it, high ones. Again. He looked at me and said, "You need to keep track of this daily. Let's try and avoid another scare." I nodded. Said I would. But inside, I felt a knot in my stomach. Because what I didn't say was this. I didn't know how. I had the blood pressure cuff. I had a little notebook. But I kept forgetting. Or writing it down wrong. Or losing the notebook entirely. It all felt messy, frustrating. And don't even get me started on trying to understand those readings. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed and thought that maybe I'm just too old to figure all this out. Maybe you felt that way too. Overwhelmed. Embarrassed to ask your kids for help. Tired of trying to keep up with the new way of doing things. Technology feels like it moves faster than we can breathe. But something changed for me, and I want to share that with you today. Because if you're 65, 70, even 80 or beyond, and you think you can't use tech to manage your health, I'm living proof you can. And not only that, it can become one of your greatest tools to stay independent, sharp, and in control. It started with one tiny thing. An app. Yes, I know. The word app used to scare me too. But one evening, my granddaughter was visiting, and I asked her if she could help me find an easier way to track my blood pressure. She smiled, took my phone, and 5 minutes later, I had something new installed. A simple health tracking app. She showed me how to use it, one button to open, one to record, and a little chart that updated itself. That was it. The first morning I used it, I took my reading like always, entered the numbers, and the app turned them into a little color-coded graph. I didn't have to do anything else. No notebook. No pen. No confusion. And for the first time in years, I could actually see how my body was doing, not just a list of numbers, but a pattern. That tiny graph became something powerful. Because once I could see my health, I started to understand it. Now here's where it got really interesting. That same app had a sleep tracker. At first, I ignored it. I thought, I know how I sleep. Badly. But one night, I decided to give it a try. I placed the phone near my bed, just like it said. The next morning, I opened the app and there it was, a simple chart showing how many hours I slept when I woke up and how restless I was. It was like holding a mirror up to something I'd been ignoring. Turns out, my worst blood pressure days followed my worst sleep nights. I never noticed the connection before. But now, I could see it. And because I could see it, I could change it. This is what I want to tell you, you're never too old to understand your own body. You just need the right tools. The technology isn't the enemy. The overwhelm comes from not knowing how to make it work for you. But once you do, even just a little, it gives you back control. It quiets the fear. It clears the fog. In the first month using that app, I learned 3 big things. First, my blood pressure was always highest on days I skipped my morning walk. I hadn't made the connection before. But the app made it obvious. Now, rain or shine, I take a 15-minute stroll every morning. It's my medicine. Second, my sleep got worse when I used my phone late at night. That blue light? It really does mess with you. Now, I turn off screens at least 30 minutes before bed. I read a book. And guess what? My sleep tracker started showing longer, deeper sleep. Third, I finally had something to show my doctor. Not just a few scattered notes or forgotten readings, but real data, patterns, progress. And he took me more seriously. We made smarter changes together. You don't have to become a tech expert. You don't need fancy devices or expensive watches. I used an old smartphone and a free app. That's all. What you do need is the belief that your health is still worth paying attention to. That you are still worth paying attention to. There's something powerful about waking up and checking in with yourself, not to panic, not to obsess, but to stay present. To say, how am I really doing today? And then take one small step to feel a little better. You might be thinking, that's fine for you, but I'm not good with phones. I hear you. But remember, you weren't born knowing how to use a microwave either. Or a remote control. Or a seatbelt. You learned. We all did. This is no different. Just take it one step at a time. Ask someone to help you set it up, a child, a neighbor, even the pharmacist. Most of them are happy to show you. And once it's there, practice. Make mistakes. Laugh at yourself. Try again. That's how we all grow, even after 70. Let me ask you, when was the last time you learned something new that made your life better? Because this could be one of those things. And no, it won't solve everything. But if it helps you sleep better, or catch a dangerous blood pressure spike before it turns into an emergency, or just feel more in charge of your own aging, isn't it worth a try? If any part of this story sounds like you, if you've ever felt lost in the sea of technology or embarrassed to ask for help, I want you to know, you're not alone. I've been there. And if I can learn this at 75, so can you. We'll keep going with the next part soon, but for now, tell me this, what's one part of your health you'd like to feel more in control of? Blood pressure? Sleep? Stress? Leave a comment below. I read every one. And if you haven't already, like this video, and hit that subscribe button. Let's keep building this space together, a place for real senior stories, motivation, and wisdom that only comes with age. The first time I realized how far I'd come was during a checkup with my doctor. He glanced at the app on my phone, just a basic blood pressure and sleep tracker, and said, "This is the most consistent record I've seen from any of my patients over 70. I smiled, but inside, I felt something deeper than pride. I felt in control again. You see, before using the app, health always felt like something that happened to me. A number would go up, a pill would be added. A bad night's sleep meant dragging myself through the next day, never really knowing why. But now I could see the cause and effect. I could adjust things. I wasn't just reacting, I was responding. And that shift, my friend, is what gave me my confidence back. Let me tell you about the biggest surprise. How this little bit of technology didn't just help me with blood pressure and sleep, it ended up lifting a heavy weight I didn't even know I was carrying. It helped my mental clarity. Before, I had foggy mornings. That feeling where your mind moves slower than your mouth. I thought it was just part of getting older. But when the app showed me how restless my sleep was, and I began improving it, the fog began to clear. I was waking up earlier, but not tired. I could remember things again. The grocery list, the neighbor's name, a funny moment from a phone call 2 days ago. It was like my brain was breathing easier. There's real science behind this. A study from Stanford University found that seniors, who used simple digital health trackers over 3 months, had improved memory performance, more stable moods, and better sleep efficiency. Not because the app did anything magical, but because it gave them feedback, and feedback leads to action. It's no different than a mirror. When you can see what's going on, you start adjusting naturally. You don't need motivation. You just need clarity. I'll give you another example. One morning, I looked at the app and noticed a 3-night streak of poor sleep. Nothing extreme, just restlessness and shorter sleep cycles. I asked myself, what changed? Turns out, I'd started watching the news again right before bed. Just 10 minutes. But those 10 minutes were flooding my mind with stress, noise, worry, and it was showing up in my sleep. So I stopped. I switched to soft music or reading a few pages from an old book instead. And within 2 nights, my sleep tracker turned green again, peaceful, long sleep. That one little change might have saved me from a spike in blood pressure, a foggy day, or worse. And what amazes me is how simple it all is. We just never had this kind of visibility before. Our parents didn't. Even we didn't, most of our lives. But now we do. And it's right there, in our pocket. Let me be clear, you don't have to be a tech genius. You don't need to understand the cloud, or set up anything fancy. The app one use has one button to record, one button to view trends. That's it. No ads. No noise. No fuss. If you're wondering what app one use, it's one my granddaughter found called HeartLog Plus Sleep, but honestly, there are many simple ones out there. What matters is not which one, it's that you start. And if you're afraid of messing up, good. That means you care. But trust me, nothing bad happens if you press the wrong button. I once logged my blood pressure under water intake by accident. I laughed, fixed it, and moved on. Mistakes are part of learning. Even at 75. And that brings me to another benefit I didn't expect. Connection. You see, when I told my granddaughter what I'd been learning, she looked at me differently. Not with pity. With respect. "Grandpa," she said, "you're keeping up better than some of my friends." We started talking more. About tech, about health, about life. I wasn't the old man who needed help anymore. I was a partner. Someone she could share things with. Later, I shared the app with a friend of mine from the community center. He's 78, used to be a mechanic, and had never touched a smartphone before retirement. Now, every Sunday, he sends me his weekly blood pressure trend and says, "Not bad for an old guy, huh?" We joke about it. But underneath the jokes, there's pride. Dignity. Independence. That's what this really is about. Using a simple health app didn't just help me track numbers. It gave me back something I didn't know I'd lost, the belief that I can still grow. Still adapt. Still lead my own life. And I'll be honest, I still get overwhelmed sometimes. Updates I don't understand. Buttons I forget how to use. But now, instead of giving up, I ask for help. I write things down. I take my time. And slowly, I get there. Because the truth is, age doesn't mean we stop learning. It just means we learn differently. We learn slower. But we learn deeper. We don't just memorize, we understand. We feel. We absorb. And that's why I believe technology doesn't have to push us away. It can actually pull us back in. To life. To connection. To our own story. If you're still here, still watching, I want to thank you. I know this kind of topic can feel vulnerable. But I also know there's strength in sharing it. So tell me, what part of tech do you feel most unsure about? Is it apps, settings, passwords, just touching the screen? Let me know in the comments. I promise you, this community is here to help, and so am I. And if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe. This channel is about more than just health tips. It's about real stories. Elderly reflections. Life lessons from the elderly that still have weight, wisdom, and warmth. You're not alone. There's something powerful about knowing what's going on in your body, and not needing anyone else to explain it to you. That's what I think about every time I open the app now. Not with fear. Not with confusion. Just with a sense of calm. It's become part of my morning rhythm, like brushing my teeth or making a cup of tea. I tap the screen, take my reading, and look at the trend. If it's a good day, I smile. If it's not, I ask myself, what happened yesterday? Was I stressed? Did I skip my walk? Did I eat something salty before bed? That quiet check-in has become one of the most important conversations I have, Not with my doctor, not with my family, but with myself. That's something no one tells you. Real health starts with listening. Not just to symptoms, but to patterns. To your own instincts. To the way your body whispers before it starts to shout. And now, I want to talk about something a little deeper. Because this journey with technology, it's not really about apps, or charts, or sleep scores. It's about agency. About dignity. About aging with choice. Too many people think that once you hit 70, 75, 80, your decisions get smaller. That your health is someone else's responsibility. That your life is just managing what's left. But that's not true. You still have so much say in how you live. And for me, this simple app reminded me of that. It reminded me that I don't have to wait until something breaks to take care of it. That I can be proactive. That I can make adjustments and see results. That I still have influence over my own future. When I started using the app, I weighed 202 pounds. My blood pressure hovered around 148/90. I was getting maybe 5 hours of restless sleep a night. I felt sluggish, forgetful, and a little afraid to admit it. 3 months in, I'd lost 12 pounds. Not through a diet. Just by noticing. I drank more water. I ate dinner earlier. I walked more. I was sleeping 6.5 hours now, waking up clearer. And my blood pressure? 122/78 on most days. All tracked. All visible. All mine. That little graph, the one that used to scare me, became my scoreboard. Not of winning or losing, but of showing up. Of being present. Of caring. That's what makes this tool different from the blood pressure cuff I used to toss in a drawer. It gave me feedback and encouragement. Every improvement, even small, felt like a step toward the kind of life I wanted to keep living. I told my doctor at my next visit. It's not just numbers. It's hope. Because when you start tracking your health, not to obsess, not to panic, but to truly understand, you stop being afraid of what's coming. And you start shaping what's next. There's a quote I love. We do not stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. I'd like to add to that. We don't lose health because of age alone. We lose it because we stop paying attention. And the good news? You can start paying attention again, right now. At 65. At 75. At 90. It's never too late. Let me give you one last example. My neighbor, Dolores, is 81. She saw me checking my blood pressure one morning on the porch and asked what I was doing. I showed her the app. She laughed, said she was too old for that nonsense. A week later, I saw her with a new phone. 2 months after that, she came knocking on my door, excited. I didn't nap today, she said. I slept 8 hours straight last night and it showed me. First time in years. That's what this is about. Not gadgets. Not fancy screens. But freedom. Freedom to know. Freedom to respond. Freedom to trust yourself again. If you've ever felt like aging is a slow slide into depending on everyone else, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be. With one small habit, one small app, one small change, you can turn that story around. So I'll leave you with this. Today, take a step. Not a big one. Just open your phone. Search for a health app. Ask someone you trust to help you install it. Set a reminder. Take your blood pressure. Track your sleep. Do it not because someone told you to. Do it because you are worth checking in on. Because you still matter. Because you are still the main character in your story. And if this video gave you anything, confidence, comfort, curiosity, I hope you'll let me know. Leave a comment below. What's one thing you learned? Or one thing you're ready to try? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. This is more than a channel. It's a space for elderly wisdom, real reflections, and life lessons from people who've been through it and still have more to give. You've got more to give, my friend. And now, maybe, a little more power to give it. Take care of yourself. I'm proud of you.